The war between the Trump administration and the animated series South Park continues, with ever more hilarious results.
As the face of Homeland Security, I'll be leading the way.
This response from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
Yeah, it never ends, but it's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look.
Kristi Noem's bizarre reaction to South Park Episode 2 made her look like the only person who could lose a fight to a cartoon. The show simply recycled her own words and served them with extra sarcasm. She responded by proving the parody might have been the most accurate thing on TV.
They actually released this bonus clip on Twitter last night, poking fun at DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's.
August 6th, 2025 rolls around, and South Park decides it's time to drop Episode 2, and with it, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem gets handed the worst week of her political career on a silver platter. This wasn't a slow burn or a subtle dig.
As the face of Homeland Security, I'll be leading the way.
From the very first minute, it was like the writers circled her name on a dartboard and went for bullseye after bullseye. Botox raids, ice madness, and yes, an animated reenactment of that infamous puppy story straight from her own memoir. It was the kind of satire that doesn't just poke fun, it sinks its teeth in. Within hours, Twitter was a circus of memes, political commentary was firing from every direction, and clips from the episode were being shared like breaking news. But the episode itself was just the opening act. The real spectacle came later when Kristi decided to take the bait.
You will now watch an orientation video featuring the Director of Homeland Security.
Welcome to the team, recruits.
Her cartoon counterpart, Kristi Noem, makes her grand debut in a mock ICE orientation video, strutting in with the poise of a beauty queen and the authority of someone who thinks Homeland Security looks better in heels. From the moment she steps on screen, you can tell the gloves are off. South Park painted her as the perfect blend of pageant glam and iron fist, greeting new recruits with a smile sharp enough to cut glass.
South Park did make fun of your job, showing you arresting Dora the Explorer for deportation.
Freeze! Oh God! Oh God!
Then it only gets wilder. In the world of South Park, her ICE unit doesn't just go after your typical targets. They're raiding Dora the Explorer and even storming the gates of heaven. It's absurd, over the top, and exactly the kind of satire that leaves you both laughing and slightly wondering how far they'll push it.
I know it's tough doing what's hard, but we could use more men like you in a team.
Oh my God, fuck.
What the fuck?
Your Botox, Miss Noem?
The substance.
Fix me up, fix me up.
Another day doing what's top.
And then there's the Botox scene, which is South Park at its most brutal. Mid-raid, chaos all around, someone shouts about her Botox and she actually pauses to fix it before carrying on with the mission. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment that says more than a speech ever could.
Welcome to the team, recruits.
Vanity in high office? South Park didn't need to explain it. They just let the gag speak for itself. The combination of these scenes created a version of Kristi Noem that was both ridiculous and strangely believable because every beat of it was rooted in her very public image. That's why the episode landed so hard.
Secretary Kristi Noem's past puppy killing scandal. At first, Noem was in on the joke. She and ICE used the show as a recruitment push on social media, but it was fun until it wasn't.
South Park had lit the match, but Kristi Noem's reaction was about to throw gasoline on the fire. And that's where the real story begins. Because Kristi Noem's most infamous story isn't some political gaffe or a leaked document. It's something she proudly put in her own memoir.
Literally wrote a book to boost your national profile where your constituents were dealing with a pandemic.
And then, a few years ago, I had to put my puppy down by shooting it in the face. Because sometimes doing what's important means doing what's hard.
Years ago, she wrote about shooting her 14-month-old puppy in the face because it was untrainable and liked to bite. South Park didn't twist this, didn't add any over-the-top backstory, and didn't make the dog into a cartoon villain. They lifted her exact words and dropped them straight into the episode, letting them hang there in all their uncomfortable glory.
Oh, God! As the face of Homeland Security, I'll be leading the way.
In the show, her animated self delivers the line casually, almost like she's telling a fun fact. That delivery is what makes it hit so hard. It's the kind of moment that makes people laugh and then immediately think, wait, did she just say that? The humor works because it doesn't feel invented. It feels real because it is real. The so-called tough leader anecdote that was meant to boost her image instead becomes a what the hell punchline for millions of viewers.
And Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, now the Trump cabinet member known as Ice Barbie.
This isn't just about a bad story from the past. It's about the way she's built her entire public identity. In political circles, she's been called Ice Barbie, a nickname that says everything about how people see her mix of pageant-ready polish and a willingness to pull the trigger, both literally and figuratively.
A dog?
Yes! She had to put her dog down, and she did it by shooting her puppy.
In the backyard.
Yeah. Like, she goes like, oh, you have to do
About the Yorkie. Her puppy.
Her brand is about being flawless and unshakable, the leader who can make hard calls without hesitation. That image is perfectly tailored for a satire like South Park, because it leaves so much room for exaggeration without straying far from the truth. The more pristine and untouchable the persona, the easier it is to tip it into absurd territory.
Oh my god. She's melting. Yes, put her back together.
South Park took that Ice Barbie image and leaned into it with surgical precision. The hair is perfect, the smile is camera ready, but the words coming out of her mouth make you stop in your tracks. The contrast between glamour and brutality is what makes it stick in your head. You're looking at someone who could be in a beauty commercial while talking about shooting a puppy, and that's a level of absurdity no writing room could improve on. That's why the satire worked so well. It didn't have to work hard.
It's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look.
But Kristi Noem's reaction to South Park wasn't a quiet eye roll or a clever one-liner. She went straight into overdrive and took it to the Glenn Beck podcast, ready to unleash. From the start, she came in swinging, calling the episode lazy and petty, as if that would somehow sting a show that has built its entire reputation on being both of those things in the most deliberate way possible.
Only the liberals and the extremists.
She didn't stop there. She claimed liberals and extremists have some strange obsession with mocking women for their looks, as if the Botox gag in the episode was born from a political conspiracy instead of the long tradition of South Park roasting every visible flaw of anyone in the spotlight. The more she talked, the more it sounded like she had a script she wasn't willing to deviate from.
If they wanted to criticize my job, go ahead and do that, but clearly they can't. They just pick something petty like that.
She repeated the same defense lines almost word for word, circling back to the idea of sexism every chance she got. What stood out the most wasn't what she said, but what she didn't say. She didn't address the puppy story they pulled directly from her own memoir. She didn't respond to the over-the-top Ice Raid parody that mirrored her own hardline persona.
They kept editing it because it's so asinine for her to do this.
As far as the serialized,
She skipped past anything that might lead to a conversation about her record or her image and planted herself firmly in the position of being unfairly attacked because she's a woman. It was less a defense of her work and more a rebranding exercise, one where she tried to turn a satirical cartoon into a political rallying point.
Last week in Rolling Stone magazine, Donald Trump said the following about you, quote, "Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?" Mr. Trump later said he was talking about your persona, not your appearance.
The problem is that this sexism angle doesn't hold up well under her own history. When Donald Trump once made the "look at that face" remark about her, she brushed it aside without calling it sexist. She stayed quiet when appearance-based jabs came from within her own political circles. But when South Park does it, suddenly it's the moral hill to die on. That selective outrage is hard to miss, and critics were quick to point it out.
Coda, it's not her groundbreaking policy initiatives, it is the fact that she wrote a book where she bragged about shooting her 14-month-old puppy in the face because it was, quote, untrainable.
To political analysts, it looked like a textbook diversion tactic. By shifting the focus to sexism, she took the conversation away from why South Park was able to lampoon her so effectively in the first place. It reframed her as the victim in a way that might appeal to certain audiences but didn't answer any of the questions the satire raised.
Forgive me if I'm not exactly crying about South Park making fun of someone who thinks puppy murder is a campaign selling point.
Instead of challenging the accuracy of the parody, she turned the whole thing into a discussion discussion about her being personally targeted. In doing that, she not only sidestepped the deeper criticism, but also fed right into the show's portrayal of her as someone obsessed with image and quick to take offense. The episode had already made her look thin-skinned. Her response made sure everyone believed it. Was South Park out of line, or did they nail it perfectly? Share your thoughts in the comments. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.